Welcome to more two-sided machining using VCarve Pro. We're continuing with the project that we started creating stop blocks for use with the T channel on a CNC machine. And we're going to now do the toolpathing for the file we've already created, the design. So let's start off, open that file, and you notice we've got all the layers selected here, and this is the top view. You can see very lightly behind it, that's what's on the bottom, and there's the bottom view. Again, you can select items on the bottom, but you cannot select any of these vectors right here until you click over to the top view. And this little icon shows you which way the material is going to be flipped. So let's go ahead and go from our drawing tab over to our toolpath tab. And we're going to go up to our layers, and we're turning off some of those layers so we can better select what we're going to be selecting for cutting. We've got our arrows right there, and we're going to be using a VCarve toolpath for that. And I've done some experimenting with these arrows. We will go ahead and start with 0.0, but actually it looks better with up to 0.035. All I need to do is we're going to select this bit, check what bit we've got there, and we want the V90 right here, and 18,000 RPM, 2.75 inches per second, 1-inch plunge rate. Everything looks good. 3% final pass step over. We're going to click OK for that. And all thing we need to do now is select our vectors. So we're going to go from right to left. Anything we touch as we drag our mouse is going to be selected. And we're going to give this a name. And we want that name to be VCarve arrow. Type that in, VCarve arrow. Now we're going to click calculate. And we're going to preview selected toolpath. And sometimes it gives us a better view if we give it a color there. I'm going to try this orange, looks a little bit better there. And that's a little bit light in case we want to sand these. So I'm going to double click on our arrow, and I found that the 0.035 works pretty good. Now when you're cutting this, and you can start out with a start depth of 0, and if it doesn't cut deep enough, you can always stop the file as it's cutting and recalculate the start depth right here. So calculate that, and we're going to preview selected toolpath and give us a global fill color there again, orange, and that looks pretty good. I think I like that better. Okay, so that's looking very good. So now we're going to go over to our layers. We're going to take off our arrow, and we're going to go ahead and do our perimeter, because that's going to be the same tool we're going to be using, we use for the arrows. So we're going to close this, and we're going to go into profile toolpath now. Now, the last bit that you used on a profile will be what shows up. Normally it's going to be usually an end mill, but for this one is a V90. We can click our edit, see how it's set up. Everything looks fine for those parameters right there. We'll click OK. And we want to cut depth of just 0.125. We're just going to create a slight chamfer on that stop block. And we want it to be on the line. It's such a small depth, we're not going to worry about any ramping with this, no separate last pass. And we're going to give this a name first, and we're going to put chamfer, and we're going to click in climb. Right up there, this is the direction we want to go. Now I've noticed that when cutting out some of these blocks that the climb does not do quite the job as a conventional. So what we're going to do is we're going to do climb first, and then we're going to go for last pass doing the conventional, and that cleans up those chamfers very well. So first of all, we need to select our vectors. We'll drag a box from right to left, just have to touch everything, calculate, and we're going to preview selected toolpath. exactly what we want. Now keep in mind, when we cut these out, these will be cut off right here. So everything will be exactly 2¼ inch square and with the chamfers on the side. Now we want to do another pass, same depth, but going the opposite direction to clean up any tear out or any loose pieces of oak, the material we're going to be using. So I'm going to right click on this. Now I'm going to duplicate that. And I'm going to click on this. Everything stays the same, but all I'm going to change is click with conventional. Go down here. Instead of chamfer climb, we're just going to put chamfer conventional. And we're going to calculate that. Now that will make no difference as far as the preview because it is going the same depth. So right now we have all the V bits that we're going to be needing for the top. So we're going to go back up to the top, take a perimeter off, and now we're going to go to our T-bolt holes. We're going to go back to our 2D view right there. Close this, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a drilling toolpath. Now normally you might be doing a drilling toolpath using a CNC drill bit, but for this one we're going to be using an upcut end mill, as you see right there. And I'm going to be holding the shift key down right here to select both of those. Okay. And we're going to put drill index holes on this right here. Okay. And we want the depth to be 1.25. We have a 3/4 inch piece of material. We want to go into the spoil board a 1/2 inch, and this will work out just perfect. Upcut spiral, we're going to check that. 2.75 feed rate will be fine. 15,000 RPM. Plunge 1 inch per second. We're going to click OK. And we're going to want to use Peck Drilling. And it's going to mean it's going to retract above the starting depth. This will help clear out the wood chips. We're going to leave the retract depth at 1/8 of an inch. And all we need to do now is make sure that we have selected each one of those as we have and calculate. Yes, we're going to cut through there. And let's preview the selected toolpath right there. Okay, so that's looking good. We have only one more thing we need to do, and that's with the T-bolt holes, is we're going to go back over here to our 2D view, deselect by clicking any space, white space there. I'm going to select these holes right here, and now we're going to go with a pocket toolpath. And the cut depth we want to go on this, we want to go through the materials. We're going to go about 0.765. I want a nice clean hole through there. Use the same bit that we have, same speed. And we're going to do an offset, start from the middle and work from the outside. Here we don't want to climb, we want a conventional cut. Help clear those chips out. Ramp, move. We don't really need a ramping on this. And we're going to click over here. We're going to type in the pocket T-bolt holes. Okay. And we're going to calculate. Yes, it's going to cut through material. We want to. And we're preview selected toolpath. Okay, that is looking very good. Okay, so that completes our top. So we're going to want to reset that preview before we start on the bottom. And so we're going to now go to the bottom toolpath, and we see that this changes color as well, and it shows here that we're at the bottom. And now we're going to go and click those holes. Click off those holes right there. Now we want to start with the pocketing on the bottom. We'll do one layer at a time. We're going to close this. Now we're going to select our pocket toolpath right here. And we want to go down 1/4 of an inch deep. And now notice technically we could have used an upcut for this, but because it's a wide area that's going to be clearing out, the vacuum going there to vacuum off the chips, it's going to keep the area clean. Now I've done a number of these, and using the upcut bit and going too deep, there's been a lot of tear out. So this last group I used the downcut bit, going with a climb toolpath, which we're going to set, and it gave a much cleaner cut. Almost virtually, we didn't had to do any sanding on these blocks. They came out just absolutely perfect. So we're going to look here, edit this, and notice we're going to do a cut depth of 0.25. We could do that safely with a 1/4 inch bit, but again, when I did this last time, we had a lot of tear out, so I'm going to go less. So we're going to go 0.15. It's going to take a little bit longer to do, but it sure saves on sanding, and you don't want to have to be gluing up pieces of wood chips back on this block. And we'll set this at 15,000 RPM, 2.5 inches per second. Plunge rate 0.75 on that. We'll leave that to take it easy. Click OK. And now we're going to want to check here. We're going to do an offset. That's fine. It's going to start from the middle and work outward. And we're going to do a climb cut on this. It's less likely to do chip out. We're going to do a little ramp right there of 1 inch. Got room to ramp it in. And we're going to do the pocket. And we're going to put pocket, bottom, middle. And I'm going to select the middle piece right here. And we're going to calculate that and preview selected toolpath. Okay. Now I'm going to go over here and click to the top right there. And I want to go where it says pocket key bolt holes right there. I want to preview selected toolpath right there. And then flip over back down. There we go. That's what I want. Now, this way, it shows me what we're going to be doing there. Now, we've already drilled the index holes on both sides, and everything's been done on the top. So we flipped it. The index pins have been put on each side of there. Well, when you start cutting this up, we're going to be only having a tab in the middle to hold these together. So we need some extra hold down. And so right here, you're going to pocket this toolpath first. Then you're going to put a screw right in the middle. A Craig pocket screw works great because of the washer type head. Screw that down, secures it much better when you're doing the cutting. Okay, so we're going to stay here, but we are going to go back into our 2D view right here. Now we're going to right click on this toolpath. We're going to duplicate it and deselect that. And now we're going to hold the shift key down. Draw a box on this side, draw a box. Anything I touch from right to left is going to be selected. Okay, and we want to put pocket. Okay, bottom sides. There we go. Okay, same cut depth, same strategy here, climb, offset, everything stays the same. We're just going to calculate now and preview that selected toolpath and see how that's going to look. And that's looking great right there. Okay, so that's fine. So right now, we go back to our 2D view, and we're going to deselect our pocketing. And we're going to now select the cutout right there. And we're going to go into a profile right there. And the cut depth we want to have is 0.76 for the first one. Cancel that. We're going to select our bit, the last bit that you used, which was the V bit, is what's up there. And we're going to use that same down cut, same speed, everything we're going to keep the same. Click OK. Except I want to edit this right here. Now remember, if I select it and I make a change, that's going to change that bit for every other time we use it. All I'm going to do is change right here. I'm going to change the pass depth to 0.2. I'm going to cut not quite as deep to avoid tear out. That will allow me to do this in 4 passes. It's going to be not on. I want the outside, very important right there. I want climb cut to avoid, when you use solid wood, that's the best way to avoid tear out on the end grain. And we want to add tabs. The length of those tabs, I'm going to put at 1 inch. And then I'm going to go over here, and I usually do not have it this thick, but because you only have that one tab between each one holding everything together, I want them a little bit thicker. I don't want a 3D tab. We're going to edit tabs. It will help if I selected the vector. So I'm going to go from right to left, stretch across there. Try that again. I did not select. There we go. There we selected it. And we're going to click Edit Tabs. And we just want those tabs to be right in the middle, right all the way across there. Just clicking. Now we can have them positioned by the software, but we need to have them for strength-wise located right in the middle. I'm going to click final one right there, so close that. Ramps, we're going to add ramps. 1 inch is going to be fine. We're not going down that deep. And we're again doing a climb. And we're going to call this cut out from bottom. And we're going to calculate. And yes, it's going to go through the material. Let's preview selected toolpath. Okay. And there we go. That looks really good. Now, once this is cut out, this is fairly easy to cut this on a bandsaw or also on a miter saw. Cut those blocks out. Again, ABC is a safety. Always be careful. Remember the 3-inch rule, keeping your hands at least 3 inches away from the blade or more. So we've got the cutout. Now we want to right click on this toolpath and we want to duplicate that. We'll double click on that and cut out from bottom. We'll rename that conventional. And we're going to go up to the top and we're going to increase this just a slight amount deeper. Same bit, everything the same, except right here, we want conventional rather than climb. And we want to edit. Instead of going down a 0.2, we're going to do this in 3 passes. So we'll do this at 0.3 inches. We'll do that in 3 passes. Click OK. And then calculate. Yes, we've got a warning that it's going to cut through the material. We want that. Okay, so right now we have all our tool paths ready to cut this piece out. So let's go in and reset the preview. And instead of previewing all the bottom, then go switch over and do the top, let's preview all sides. We're going to click that and we're going to watch that go into action. Doing the pocketing. It cuts out. Okay, then it's going to flip around and do all the tool pathing for the top. And so all we have to do to look at that, there's our bottom tool path right there, and click on our top. And we have some great looking stop blocks ready to be cut out. All you need is some 5/6 inch T-bolts for this and some knobs, and you are ready to go. Now here's some photos of those clamps after they've been cut out and put into action with this T-slot jig. We're on an aluminum T-channel. That's perfect for holding cutting boards or pre-designed plaques and V-carving them or doing 3D. So they come in very handy. Again, this is with a T-slot jig. Here is with aluminum T-slot channel right here. You can see how great it works, and there's another one with the jig. And you can see again how handy those clamps and those stop blocks are going to be. Thank you for your time.